I love that intro. I'm gonna miss it. Now we're not gonna hear it again for another 2 years. I read that quote from the showrunner. Really? 2026. Hi, Anne. Nice to see you in the comments. Like I said, great intro. Love it. Oh my goodness. So here we are again live a month later, and we finally have seen Bridgerton season 3, part 2. So you know how I like to start. I know 2 years is crazy. Give me your rating, Gabby. What do you rate this part 2?
I thought about this a lot today, and
I love how it took so much of your brain space.
okay, I'm being a little dramatic. Didn't think of it that much, but I was thinking about it a bit, and
Yes.
I want to say like a 3.75 out of
Okay.
5.
All right. All right. That is fair. For me, I think I'm gonna stick to my 3.
Yeah.
3, maybe like even a little bit lower, just because, and we'll get into it now, I guess. I just felt more bored by this part 2, and I mean, there's times where I was like up and doing stuff because I had to grab my dinner, and I felt like I'm gonna rewind, but I didn't. I was like, I'll just let it play. I mean, not rewind, fast forward. Yeah, because I think I just wanted more focus on the main couple, and I sound like a broken fucking record. I'm sorry. It's just that is where my interest lies, I guess, in these types of stories. I just want it. I want the conflict to be between the two, which they did have conflict, but you know what I mean, because we know it's Bridgerton, and there's like 1,000 storylines going on, and I just can't help how I feel when I'm watching other scenes, and I'm wishing. I wonder what Colin's doing right now. How is he dealing with this with this information right now? I would like to see another scene between the two of them dealing with the whole revelation. By the way, this is a very spoiler filled live, so if you haven't seen it, this is your fair warning. We're gonna spoil the show. So in part 2, we do see Colin finally finding out. And how did you feel? How did you feel about that reveal? How he found out?
I mean, it kind of just went as I expected it to go. Like I wasn't, I don't know, wasn't really surprised by it. And I guess sort of in reaction to what you're saying, I could really care less about Colin and Penelope in these last 4 episodes. For me, they were the least interesting part of it, and I just think
Uh,
that's sort of what doesn't allow me to rate this season like a 4 because
okay.
they just don't. I don't think the show gives a does enough with Colin to really make them make him the romantic hero that I want for Penelope, who I love.
Yeah.
So it's just so for me, I kind of at that point, I just sort of was kind of waiting for him to go through the motions.
Mhm.
Um. So yeah.
I've seen people online saying that Luke and Nicola have more chemistry in their interviews than they do as their characters on the show. And I'm like,
I
damn.
yeah.
Um, I haven't seen enough of their interviews to agree with that, but I mean, I don't know. For me, like Nicola's just kind of like the star of the show. Like I pay more attention to her, probably more so than Luke. He's just kind of he's not really my romantic hero either, and I still don't know if it's because of his acting or the writing or the pacing. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but the thing is that so the reason why I wanted just a little bit more of Polin was because she has this secret, like this dark cloud over her head, and it's causing her so much anxiety, and she's so terrified. And Eloise is really like breathing down her neck about telling the truth, which I can understand Eloise because she's looking out for her brother. So I was just like waiting and waiting. I think it takes 2 or 3 episodes for him to find out, and then he finds out finally, and then he's so heartbroken. There's like literal tears in this guy's eyes. And then, of course, he kind of comes at her for keeping this huge secret. He feels hurt. And I just wanted a little bit more conversation because I feel like they have that big blowout. And then they talk about it again in that dark alley when they end up kissing as well. And then like the next scene, they are getting married, but everything's kind of hunky dory. Oh, it's okay. It's like it's very complicated, and I get that. Like there's like different emotions. Like he still loves her, obviously, even though he's heartbroken. It's very complicated, and I just feel like for complicated emotions, they could have used just a little bit more conversation between the two of them. And that's what I had hoped for, because I just needed that kind of closure and reconciliation.
Yeah, I can see that. I felt like I was thinking a lot about what you were saying last time about like how you love the grovel and you felt like Colin should have groveled more in the beginning. And
Mhm.
we see a lot of groveling from Penelope in this part, I feel. And it was just sort of that really started to bother me because I'm just like, she's like, I love you. Like, she's trying to convince him and
Yeah.
everything. And I'm just like, okay, like stop.
That is because as romance girlies, we never really want to see the girl be the one that's groveling. That's why. Even though
Yeah.
she kind of has a reason to, because she kept his, big secret from him. And I get it, obviously. Like, he has a right to feel hurt because she kept the secret from him. But that's why, again, I just had hoped for a little bit more of a conversation. Even though they do have like little ones, but they're so quick and there's so many other things going on that I just don't feel fully satisfied with how that came to a resolution. You know?
Right. Because I also think like by the end, like Penn really takes ownership of what she did,
Yeah.
right? In front of everybody.
Mhm.
Like there's no doubts. Where I don't really necessarily feel like Colin really took ownership for how he hurt her in
Mhm.
the past. Even though like the two things like don't necessarily weigh the same in terms of like seriousness. Like I think his is probably a little less, it's not as bad as what she was doing, which is essentially being, kind of airing everyone's dirty laundry out all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that it felt like a tinge unfair, and I think I sort of found it kind of tiring, and if anything, kind of bored me. It was just that because I was just sort of like, you know, I knew they were gonna get where they needed to go, and I was just a lot more interested in what Benedict was doing, Francesca's like her little romance, and then the big reveal at the end, which we'll talk about later, I imagine, and all that. So yeah,
We'll talk about Francesca because holy fuck.
yeah.
But so much happened with the main couple. I do just want to make sure for the audience and ourselves that we talk about everything. What else happened? Oh, they had their first sex scene. Which, how did you feel about that?
I thought it was good. I mean, I'm glad they played out the mirror scene from the book that was like because it wasn't in the book, it was kind of teased like
Yeah,
that. So they kind of played it out. That was moving. Was it like the best Bridgerton sex scene? No, but I think I loved what it meant. I loved how Nicola acted. I thought it was very beautiful. She looked gorgeous.
yes,
Um and it was like a little awkward and funny. I like they were giggling a bit. I think it was very sweet. So I did like it.
yeah. I agree with you. They are not my favorite couple by any means, but I thought that scene was really well done because it felt kind of real because it felt like pretty intimate. Like we shouldn't be watching it because like it's so like vulnerable. Like this is like her first time, and he knows that he's trying to take his time. And I remember that because there was that quote that was going around by Nicola who says, like, I hope you enjoy seeing them, talking about her boobs because she's like women with perfect breasts. And I was like,
Yeah.
yes, girl. Yes. And you do see them. And I was like, girl, you got some nice boobs. She's right. They're pretty.
Oh yeah, she does. She wasn't lying. She was
It
like, yeah.
wasn't lying. Um, I loved seeing that because I just wish that would happen more so that it didn't have to be like a talking point each time. But I mean, it is because it's the world that we live in, seeing just like different types of bodies. But I loved it, and I thought it was like, oh, this is still going on. This is a pretty long. It's a pretty long sex scene. He's trying to make sure like she's ready, and then when she's ready, he's like going in full on. And I was like, all right, he's not selfish, and he's a caretaker in that department. I appreciate it.
Yeah, same. Like I think it was really well done. Yeah, I don't like no notes really. Good
Yeah,
job.
good job for that. And then something else happens in this relationship that I wanted to talk about, and I forgot. Oh my god, what else happens with Colin and Penelope? Oh, okay. Can we talk about the fact? I also am not really buying or really understanding the whole reveal of Whistledown to the entire ton. Because, like, okay, she's gonna continue being this town gossip, and then they all know. Like, how's that gonna work?
I'm kind of curious to see. I feel like they kind of did the same thing as last season where they sort of used the queen's like approval to be like, this is a-okay now. Like, this is no longer scandalous. She's cool with it, so we have to be cool with it. Which is like
I'm
I mean,
confused because let's say she's at a ball and she sees something and then she reports it the next day. That person, that family, that person, lady or man is gonna know who wrote about them, and if they're gonna go and are they gonna isn't she afraid of retaliation in some way?
yeah, I mean, I think the column is just gonna like have to change. I don't know how. Like, maybe it'll just be more of like a observation on like something that's going on, but it'll be a lot less gossipy. Um, just like her take on the ongoings of the town, but not like digging into people's lives. I can't. It has to be something.
That sounds like it would be not a fun gossip sheet. And it's
It
like, what's the point?
honestly, I think it's gonna be a lot less juicy and a lot less fun. They're just gonna kind of keep
Really?
it for like the show's conceit, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, like yeah, just like in announcements and
announcements.
journalism,
I
right?
guess then
Like I think that's all it'll be like.
someone else is gonna have to be like the TMZ of the ton then, because like Penelope.
Well, she'll be just like any like newspaper columnist, right? Or like magazine columnists who like kind of they take the topic du jour and they kind of go off and have their own like op-ed on it. And I think she'll probably do something similar, right? Like, probably each episode will have some sort of theme and she'll just sort of be kind of riffing off that theme.
I guess, but I think it takes the tension away. I mean, I'm
It
happy she doesn't have to live in the shadows anymore, but I know in the book she quits being Whistledown. But in the show, it's so much part of who she is and how she expresses herself, and she's a good writer and she doesn't want to let it go. And I can understand that, but it's also like I also don't understand like how's that gonna work. I'm curious to see how they handle it, but I feel like it makes it sound like Julie Andrews is done, and it's just gonna be Nicola's voice then for future seasons because they don't know who she is.
Yeah, I just read an article with the showrunner, and she was saying something about like they hate to like say goodbye to Julie Andrews. So it sounds like they don't want to. They're gonna try to find like some type of. It sounds like they're gonna try to find some type of solution where maybe they combine both Julie Andrews and Penelope's narration of it in some way. But
Well, can't
yeah,
wait to see how they make sense of that because so far in my brain, I'm still trying to reconcile how they're going to make that make sense and make it fun because they chose to make Whistle Down such a huge part of the show. So, okay, then. And then they also chose to like tell us in season 1 who it is. So, decisions.
yeah, and there's also like another like season 4 detail she gave, which I don't know if you want to dig into now, but like
Oh,
makes
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
she was saying how like it's going to be set during the fall, which is out of the season for
Hmm.
the debutante season. So I'm kind of curious. Like,
And what does that mean? So then it
so
always
they're
begins with somebody debuting.
right. So that would be a change, and it also Lady Whistledown's column only comes out during the season, right?
Oh.
So I think it kind of gives like them room to try something different on like their like social off season. I don't know, but.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how that works. Anything else that you wanted to bring up on Pollen? I can't think of anything else. There's
No, I mean,
mom,
I think
sisters.
nothing really. I mean, I have to give Colin some credit that I did like his line towards the end where what did he say? Like something about like his purpose is,
To love
just,
her.
yeah, then he'll be fulfilled. I thought that was really nice. I don't think it's like iconic quote, like I burned for you, you're the bane of my existence type of thing, but I thought it was really sweet. Like I did an audible ah when I saw it. So
The first time that I had some sort of like physical reaction was during their love scene, and then after that, there was none. But I don't know if I don't really see the internet being super. I mean, I know there's Pollen fans, but if we're talking about like being in love with the man of the pairing, I haven't really seen like that much of like a love for him like that, you know?
yeah, I don't see it in compared to like the first 2 seasons,
Yeah, not
or
compared to
even Queen Charlotte. I felt like a lot of people love George.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. I think the best way to do this is to do character by character, not every single character, but by character, because I had some surprises that I want to talk about that I actually enjoy, which is like Cantony. Like, I did not like their season, but give me married couple giving advice to younger siblings. I was here for it. I was like, yes,
That that was their best scene. I
it was
wanted more of it.
amazing. Like, I loved them because I love how much she's so a part of their family. Like, they are so happy whenever she's around. And I even loved her little scene she had with Eloise, like giving her like some like big sister talk. And she's like, she loves them and she's trying to make sure that Gregory has his favorite desserts. Like, I'm just like smiling thinking about it now because I thought that was so well done how like they integrated her into like their family. And again, I just love how much Anthony's obsessed with his wife. That's the kind of energy that you want, okay? And he's like, our marriage isn't hard. We're perfect. It's like, because to him, like they're just so happy. And then props to him for being like, we're gonna go to India because I want my baby to make sure they know the other half of them and to know that part of the culture as well. So like major props. I was loving Cantony in part two.
Yeah. I love how like playful he is this season because it's
Yeah.
such like a big change from the last one. So yeah, no, I adored every time they were on screen, and I wish it was like wish they got like a whole episode to themselves because I just like want to live in their wedded bliss.
Yes.
But I am bummed that they're going to India because I feel like that means we're not going to see them
Oh, we're not
for a
gonna
few
see them.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that makes sense unless they up their budget. Because I feel like there's something happened to their budget for this season. It feels like it's smaller, which is weird. Only
I
because like we didn't get flashbacks. We're in a lot of ballrooms, not that many location. What happened?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the budget. I do feel like it does feel a little bit more contained than usual. Like, I mean, I know they did a lot more outdoor scenes for season 2 just because of COVID, but so I wonder if that feels like the change. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely felt different, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely looked a lot different in terms of like the clothing too. I felt it was like a lot more glitzy and bolder, and like seeing Penelope with like a bold red lip was like,
Yeah, that was
well,
startling.
yeah. I mean, she looked beautiful, but like it also felt weird for like a
The time.
period piece. Yeah.
Yeah, but Bridgerton is so like a fantasy. So it's like you just like, okay, red lip in this moment, fine. I also just wanted to comment on Simone's Ashley's beauty, like her
Okay.
costuming and her freaking wardrobe and hair. Like, hello, she's so gorgeous.
I know she's just like they really. I feel like she glowed this season. I don't know. Maybe they tried to like gave her a mini glow up or a pregnancy glow up or whatever, but she
Yeah,
looked beautiful.
it's like happy married glow up, baby glow up. I loved it. I could have used more Cantony scenes, hell, because I was loving it, which is so weird because I didn't really love their love story. But then married, I want more of that. Next Bridgerton, Benedict. Okay.
Yes.
What is going on? What's going on the one hand, they have been teasing us, I think, since the first season that he is like a possibly bisexual, possibly gay, sexually fluid man because there's just always been that kind of vibe with him in those certain scenes where he's with certain company. So but at first it seems like he wasn't into it. I guess he was just kind of shocked. But then later on, he was like, I'm gonna give this a try. But then like ends up finding out, actually, no, I don't want it. I don't know. Is he still like figuring out himself? What's going on?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny when he ran away. I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
but yeah, I think I think you're thinking about like societal expectations. It was a very repressive period, so like that could have felt scary to him. Like it was something he didn't really know or 100% understand about himself. But then he fully went into it.
yeah,
So like not to shout out my job, but at Bustle we got an interview with Luke Thompson, and he did say there is kind of like a labellessness to it. He said probably the closest thing would be pansexuality, but
mm-hmm.
yeah, I think Benedict's still figuring out. Like he's a very curious, character.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they finally went there with him because I do think it would have felt like queer baiting if they kept like You know what I mean? Kind
Yeah.
of putting him in situations, but not necessarily having him like fully engage in them. So it was really nice and refreshing to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it made sense for his arc for sure. And I want to talk about the heartbreaking scene when the widow that he's been involved with basically lets him know that she wanted to be exclusive with him. She's starting to
Yeah.
care for him. She doesn't really care to have like a third. Um, she says something that like, you make me want to commit to someone. I didn't think that was possible. And I don't know who the actress is, but I think she did such a great job because I was like feeling really sad for her because he was so honest with her by kind of rejecting her, really, because he was honest and saying, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. And so their relationship right then and there kind of ended. But she still thanks him after the rejection, saying, "Thank you for making me see that like it can be possible that I can have these feelings again." And I thought that was so heartbreaking. It was beautiful. I really
It
liked it.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of wasn't expecting that too. But yeah, the actress's name, her name's Hannah New. But yeah, she was really great in that scene. And I think it was a moment that Benedict needed where he kind of get sat down and sort of like reckon with sort of with his like behavior and understand that like maybe this is something he'll also want eventually or something he should start thinking about. And I really liked his quote to Eloise like towards the end where he's like, I think like the next thing that's gonna come my way is gonna like totally change me in
Mhm.
some way. I'm not saying it verbatim, but there was
Yeah.
something along those lines, and I was like really intrigued.
I am intrigued with wherever his story is going to go because let's say they do keep his storyline with Sophie. Like, is she going to be somebody who's into the lifestyle of threesomes as well? Like, is it going to be like a poly romance? Is my question. Like, what are they going to do?
Maybe I didn't even think about that to be
Yeah.
honest. Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I feel like I was also trying to think if he's going to be the next like lead because they still kind of that's still kind of ambiguous at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was trying to imagine who it would be, but I don't know.
I don't know. Like,
But
I feel like
potentially, they could have a lot of fun with that.
I feel like they've established him as that kind of person who's just not with conventions. Like he likes to do what he wants to do at the moment. So I feel like he's gonna have to find a partner who's also that way. Unless his story where he becomes like the widow and he's like, wait, no, I just want to be committed to one person because I didn't think I would feel that way. But like now I've met you, I just want to be with you. So I don't know which way they're gonna go.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he could still kind of like, I mean, he could still be monogamous at the end of the day and just sort of enjoy a threesome, consensual threesome now and then. Doesn't
Well,
necessarily
this
have to be
like
like an open relationship or whatever. But I don't know. I do think he'll probably just whoever he's with will also be as open minded as he is.
yeah, I think they for sure need to be aligned in that way. Next Bridgerton, who's next? Violet Bridgerton.
Yeah, Violet.
Um, things are moving along, I guess, with Danbury's brother. Which, okay, remind me, what exactly did he do to his sister? He told on her to the dad, and like it messed up
I
her
think
entire life.
she was trying to escape. I think she was trying to run away when she got like
Betrothed.
when her arranged marriage with that guy, that horrible guy, and then he was a young kid and he saw that his sister was trying to escape and he like told his father and like ratted her out basically. Um,
I feel like if this were season 1 or 2, we would see that as a flashback. Like I was waiting for it. Like I want to see the drama, like the horrible thing that he did when he was a kid. Like I thought it was coming, and like the flashback scene never came. But go ahead.
yeah, but I do think I mean it could have happened like even in Queen Charlotte. Like it could have even been just like a throwaway like line to kind of set that up, but yeah, it's just sort of like I guess it was just they had to kind of create some tension there, and I think because really in the first half I felt like he could have been a bad person for Violet, but really it was just this drama with
Yeah.
his sister that really didn't affect her or wouldn't have affected Violet in any way other than just her friend kind of feeling miffed about the whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I felt sometimes confused by Miss Violet Bridgerton when it came to Francesca. because which I have like there's so many things that could be said here, but I'm gonna try to go in parts here because there's a lot to unpack with the Francesca thing. But I felt confused because I feel like it's clear that Francesca and John have something real. Like they have some kind of connection and they love each other. They want to be together. And I always thought that Violet was team true love match is what she wanted for her kids because it's what she had and she wants all her kids to find their true loves. And it looks like Francesca found it, but she isn't feeling convinced. Is that the right word? Like I was just confused. Like you see, that's what she wants. She wants to get married and she loves this guy. Why isn't she on board?
I think she is eventually convinced. I do think it just takes her a moment to realize that like not everyone falls in love in the same way she did, right? Like this passionate, like, you know, all consuming thing. And I think she also has to understand that Francesca is like a lot different than her other kids and probably
Yeah.
would fall into a relationship that's not going to be just like, Anthony and Daphne or Colin or her, So I do
Yeah,
think she comes around by the end. She does like him. I think it's just hard
she
for her to
does.
like
She
compute
does.
it in her head. Um,
I
but
almost forgot about that scene because of the things that happened after. But I was just confused why she was confused why Francesca is into this love match. Cause I don't know, like I see Violet as such like lover of love and shipper of ships. Like she's so like, yes, like go for it. I love that you love this guy, go for him. And then but then with that pairing, she was just like, I don't know, Francesca. You're right though. She does come around. And I guess we'll get into it now. Because I feel like it kind of all gets negated kind of because of the revelation at the end.
I don't, okay. I needed like a moment with the end when Michaela, like I read the books. I follow the series intensely. So
Yes.
like the fact that it made my jaw drop was like
I was very confused because look, I feel like okay, they want to make a Bridgerton gay. I thought it was gonna be Benedict, but with reason because they planted that seed since the first season. Like we've seen him be interested and like he's very fluid. Like if they were
yeah.
gonna change his, I wouldn't have loved it because I did enjoy his book because I like the Cinderella trope. But that would have at least made sense to me because they planted the seed. I was gonna be ready for it. They bring out Michaela instead of Michael, and I'm like, wait, what?
I
Why?
was speechless. I was just speechless.
I was, I was
I
too.
mean,
But I was confused because okay, and then I said it negates. So like that revelation negates Violet's revelation about Francesca because Violet said you made me realize that it doesn't always have to be, like very fast and like this explosive, like earth-shattering thing. Like sometimes love can be like slow and you taught me that and I love that lesson. But now we're like demolishing that because obviously when Francesca sees Michaela, she gives her that look like the holy shit.
yeah, like she forgets her own name, which is actually like mirrors exactly what Violet said earlier about how like when she met Edmund, she like forgot she couldn't talk.
Yes. So
Yeah, so she got like, yeah.
Bridgerton was telling me the story. Okay, like love, it will come in different ways, and I love that Francesca's love was gonna be different, and I love that it taught Violet that lesson. But now they're trying to teach. I don't know. They're trying to undo that right away because now Francesca looks like she's gonna be feeling what Violet has been talking about, like that like very fast and passionate, like I know when I know moment. When like, but that makes me. But now I'm bummed because you just spent time showing me that she can have a different love story with somebody else.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I think that's like kind of my issue with it too, in the fact that like, yeah, I wanted more time with John and like not having to worry about like Michael, Michaela yet, and just giving us that space to like breathe and enjoy this relationship, especially because it didn't get its own season. It's like, tailing Colin and Penelope's. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, because we also knew it was coming. Like we know what happens to John. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't love it. Like I felt like we could have waited to meet Michaela. Like that could have been a next season twist, or unless they're gonna tee her up for season 4, which I think would be really nuts because I don't know. I feel like I wanted her to be married to John and kind of like have them grow up and be a little bit more mature because
Yeah.
that's the kind of storyline I wanted for Francesca. I want to see like a little bit of an older Bridgerton dealing with something like that. But yeah. But I'm cool with like the gender swap, and I'm really intrigued by the fact that they picked Francesca of all the characters to do like a queer
Yeah.
love storyline with. So yeah,
Uh,
I am curious how it's gonna play out though, right? Because given the times and everything, are they just gonna bring the queen out and be like, "I approve of this
I
match.
approve of
It's
this. Yeah.
okay to be gay," and then everyone will be cool with it? Like, I don't know.
When in doubt, go to the queen to make sure it's fine. I don't know. I have to be very honest and don't cancel me, but I don't know. I feel conflicted only because I have seen the discourse online. I'm on threads. I be reading stuff. Of course, there's just gonna be those shitty homophobic people. Those like who cares about them? They're just being hateful. But then I can understand if this were my favorite book of all time and then they gender swap someone, I feel like I probably would feel some type of way. Because like if that were like my id couple, I could understand that point of view. But I'm also seeing a lot of people upset because they feel they're being robbed of the trigger warning here. They feel like they're being robbed of the infertility storyline that is very much part of her story in her book, apparently. And obviously I'm not educated enough about this, but I mean I don't know how that's gonna work because she probably won't be going through that type of struggle if she's with a woman, but maybe she will with John, and maybe that's why we'll probably still have John maybe for the first half of her season, and then like when he dies, and like we'll get Michaela. But that's largely the disappointment that I see is the whole infertility thing because people feel like that should be something that's represented as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I also like my own take is that the fertility storyline in the book isn't that good either because she ends up being able to have kids anyway. And then
Yeah,
I think a lot of her was just like trying to like get married in order so that she could have kids, but not necessarily struggling to I mean, I know she does
I
like a
think she
trigger
does
warning
because
miscarry in the beginning, but like um
from what I read online is that like she feels bad because all her siblings are able to have kids so easily, and for her it's really really hard.
yeah. I mean, I think well it was hard because her husband died.
Mm. Well, did she ever try to get pregnant with him and like it just
Well
wouldn't happen,
she did get pregnant with him and then he died and then she
right?
lost the baby. She
Okay.
had a pregnancy loss.
Okay.
Um after that. And then, yeah, obviously, then at that point, she was a widower, and like, so then and then like a couple years pass, I think, or at least a year passes, and then I think the stuff with Michael kind of comes to a head, and,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, even so, it doesn't. I mean, I guess it's an old. I mean, obviously set in the Regency period, so like
Correct.
the way they talk about infertility or fertility issues is going to be different than it is now, but.
Yeah.
I can see why people miss it. I just don't feel like I don't know. I think you could still address it. Like it could be like a big. I mean, it could also be one of the reasons why she's afraid to kind of go into a relationship with Michaela because she wants kids one day and she knows she can't with her. So like, what do you do, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know what
Conflict.
adoption is like. I imagine she will adopt kids, and maybe we'll get to see that type of storyline in the
Maybe.
show.
Maybe. Okay, so I saw that Julia Quinn had to turn off her comments because she was getting a lot of comments of hate on this. And then Shauna is also getting a lot of heat for it, but she has not turned off her comments yet on Instagram.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of Michael Sterling stands out there, let me tell you, because
I don't know. I mean, like, he's charismatic and everything. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I mean,
her book is also known as the steamiest as well. So I think maybe that has something to do with it, perhaps.
I was like rereading like the excerpts people were like sharing on Twitter, and um it was fine. Like it was just him being like, "Oh, you want to get pregnant? I'll get you pregnant. Like, I'm
Pretty
gonna entrap you into a relationship with me."
Oh, one of
And I'm
those.
like, oh yeah, that's very sexy.
So
Yeah.
romantic. I don't know. People really like. I'm telling you, if you take a look right now at Shonda Rhimes' comments section. It's every other comment is mentioning Michael Sterling. Michael Sterling, you've ruined Bridgerton. Okay, like Bridgerton makes you money. You think you can do this? Like what? Like just coming at
Yeah.
her.
I mean, also I mean, very brave of them because I think
Yeah.
thinking on it now, I feel like Michael's the most alpha love interest in the whole series.
More than Anthony? He's way.
Yeah, I would say.
Wow.
I would say. And I think like probably Anthony's second. But like so I think to make the gender swap with someone like him was
I was like,
is they're rocking the boat. I mean, just confirming that there's a queer romance down the line is like big enough. But I think picking that
maybe.
character is
I hope
yeah.
that actress is not on Instagram yet because I think she will get like a lot of
She
hate.
is. I started following her,
Oh my
but
god.
she didn't like post any updates yet or anything.
She has
So
no post yet.
no, she has posts, but she didn't update. Like she hasn't posted
I
since
wonder
the show dropped the other day. So like
the name of
it's
her
kind of
Instagram. Do you know it?
yeah. She should yeah. It's her name's Masali Masali, and her last name's Baduza
Oh, okay,
Baduza.
I see. Oh, she hasn't turned them off yet.
She might not just be on it. Like I would just like delete the app for like 3 months or
Yeesh.
forever.
Okay,
Um,
I'm actually seeing some nice. I'm actually seeing some nice ones. People are like, "Yay, welcome to the Bridgerverse." Okay, that's good. No, because that would suck to be getting the hate from that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just annoying like that. And I feel like I could see all sides of that. And I think also for me, I was really loving Francesca's story because I felt like it was a season of telling stories of different types of wallflowers. Like you see Penelope is a wallflower in her own way, and then Francesca is a wallflower. Cressida, I wouldn't say is a wallflower. She's more of like a spiky spine on the wall. But she was also somebody who's been out for seasons and has found no husband, and her life at home sucks. So I feel like it did a good job of showing like different versions of being the ones who were outcasted in a way. And I just felt like I kind of resonated with Francesca because of just her nature, just being a little bit more on the reserve side and not being like her siblings, just being different in that way. So I
yeah.
was really loving that aspect of it. And then I saw a quote from the showrunner saying that when she read, because she's a queer woman, the showrunner, when she read Francesca's book, um, she kind of read it as like somebody who's always felt kind of different, out of step in their family, and she felt like that was the way that a lot of queer people grow up. And that's her way of interpreting the book, and I just felt like maybe I interpreted the book a different way, which is like with her introversion. So yeah, there's just different feelings all around.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I do wish, like, knowing the books, there are all these, like, really passionate romances. So
Yeah,
it was really refreshing to get Francesca's, like, quieter, like, romance. And I think it sort of reflects, honestly, a lot of, like, healthy, really good relationships in the world.
yeah.
It's like, it's a lot more realistic. That kind of, like, tender love. But, like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think though for TV, I guess people just want like the hot and passionate tension and all that. So that's gonna
Yep.
be
I guess so. Well, we talked a lot about Francesca. Please let me know in the comments how you guys feel. But don't be a hateful asshole as well. Next Bridgerton, Eloise. Let's talk about her, who's going off with her sister. Which, if I were Francesca, who me Francesca, I married so I can get away from my family, I'd be a little annoyed. But Francesca's a nicer person than I am because she's like, yeah, sure, come.
to be fair, she's gonna go live in a castle, so her sister can have a separate wing and they could still be pretty far
I
apart. So
know,
she can
I
enjoy her
know,
marriage. It's not
I
like
know.
but I feel like yeah, I do think it's like a good like way to kind of get. I think it's good to get Eloise like out of the house, out of London or whatever.
I'm interested to see
But
the adventures in Scotland for Eloise. I don't know. Do you think now they'll do like at least 2 Bridgerton love stories per season from now on? Because I feel like maybe Eloise will meet somebody in Scotland. I don't know.
I have no clue. Like, I don't know what Eloise is gonna do in Scotland. Like, besides, like, I don't know what we would care to see Eloise do in Scotland besides fall in love. Put it that way.
Yes. Something that she's still has not shown any interest in.
Well, she showed like that guy from the
I
print
keep
shop. She
forgetting.
did like him.
Did she?
I think
I don't remember.
no, I think she was a crush. Like, I truly believe she had a crush. I
Okay.
mean, I think there's some people who do think she's asexual. Like I know there's like a good
Yeah,
understanding.
asexual. Because she has
Yeah.
shown no interest apart from what you're telling me.
I mean I do think like that was like I took it as like a crush like
Okay.
that she does, but
Uh-huh.
I do think like part of me does think that Eloise is scared of marriage, is scared of like having those feelings. I feel like that's like a big
Hmm.
reason why she's so like outspoken and kind of like keeps challenging the institutions all the time. So
Mhm.
that's what makes her interesting, right? But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why, like, I'm so confused about who's gonna be the lead of next season because, like, I don't know what they're gonna have Eloise do, but fall in love, or just make random more comments, or start like a feminist publication in Scotland. I don't know. Like,
I don't know. I think hers is going to be like the riskiest because if she does fall in love, then some people may be like, "Well, this isn't true to her character. Why does she care about marriage and kids all of a sudden?" And it's like, well, then if you don't have her have like a love story, then like why is she in this show? It's a romance novel series. So,
that, well, I just thought of something. Maybe like her seeing Francesca and John, like she starts to realize like this isn't so bad. Like this is something I want. Like maybe she sees their marriage in action and she feels like she doesn't feel as maybe intimidated by it, or she thinks it's like actually something she wants. Like that could be her experience.
perhaps or maybe she needs to meet somebody that she ends up really liking.
And
There
will
is
it actually be Philip Crane? Or are they gonna cast someone? Are they gonna do someone new? Because I'm like,
I don't know.
I kind of don't want her to fall in love with Philip. Like I don't. I didn't really like her book that much, so like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a this reminds me of another quote that Colin says to Eloise. He says something like, "You should consider yourself uncommonly lucky that you've never been in love." Because they are heartbroken by Penelope, but in so many different ways. Because he's like, he was in love with her and he's heartbroken, he still loves her. And it was like a friendship breakup. I don't know. It's like different levels of devastation, I guess,
Yeah.
for sure. Who's the next Bridgerton? I think that's it for all the Bridgertons that we can talk about. Because like
Yeah,
right
those are the main ones.
there. Yeah. Um any more thoughts on maybe Cressida or the Queen or maybe even Lady Featherington, which I thought because I did a reaction video, and in my video you could see me talking about like Lady Featherington, like okay, she's getting closer to Penelope and she's being nicer. Is it because she's trying to get closer to her because the lawyer's coming around and she needs the money from the Bridgertons? She's being nice, and when Penelope finds out, Pen is going to be so heartbroken, which kind of does happen a little bit. So I was right, but it wasn't like as dramatic as I thought it would be because like Lady Featherington is a very complex character. Like they try to make you hate her, but I don't always officially fully hate her because she's complex. She's complex.
Oh, I love Lady Featherington. I hope they keep like they find a good way to like kind of keep her around in the next seasons.
Yeah.
Just like yeah, because I really love like the moments where like Penelope stood up for her, but then she also kind of like she understands like the relationship with her mother is complicated, and like she's still gonna do things for her family even though they didn't always treat her well. And she, in a lot of ways, is like her mother. She's so loyal to them. Like her mom will like totally be tough on the girls, but then like no one can do anything to hurt them.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think she's complex because she does what she needs to protect the family, but she's also has been not very great and loving towards Penelope, and that really affected Penelope throughout her entire life. Like it's part of the reason why she had to come up with a whole dual personality. It's not only because of the ton; it's because of what she was going through at home as well. Like she didn't have a supportive, great mom.
Right.
You
I
know?
was pretty shocked when because I wasn't expecting her to find out when Cressida came to like
Mhm.
blackmail Penelope and told the mom and told Lady Featherton. I was like, oh whoa, they're gonna have Lady Featherton on this.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she's like finding out that like Colin knows and Eloise knows. That was a lot of fun for me. I like that.
She's great. That actress she's like funny and like she can be also be emotional. Like casting director, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of great actors in this. Let's talk a little bit about Cressida, who, you know what, she's like the mean girl, but I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her because she's trying to find a way out because her life sucks. Okay.
Yeah. No, I felt bad for her too. Like I was even thinking, it just felt like I mean, I didn't necessarily want her to have a happily ever after, but I was hoping she'd find a way out of her situation, like in
Yeah.
some way.
Want a love match. Like she's such a sad character. She just wants like to fuck off with her own money and get away from her parents. She doesn't even care to find a loving husband.
Right. So, I mean, even though like what she was doing was bad, like
Yeah.
blackmailing Penelope, I think it was like clearly all out of desperation.
Desperate. Yeah.
And um, yeah, it just sucks. In the end, it didn't work out for her, and I feel like it was just like a weird way. I didn't feel like she deserved that punishment. I think she deserved something else. Like maybe even if she didn't get like a love match, or a lot of people were thinking she was gonna end up with Devlin somehow.
I
Um,
mean, I feel like that's her best case scenario. Like, write to him saying you're there waiting. Like, it's a best scenario. He doesn't have to be around. You will have his estate and his money because you're his wife. Ah,
right. Yeah.
hit up Devlin.
So
Um, what else happened in this? Did anything else happen that we want to talk about?
no, but I am kind of curious who you think is like who you think is gonna be the lead of season 4. Because that's like the thing that's been on my
Okay,
mind.
it's a great question. Okay, so I feel because like they kind of teased the masquerade ball, which got me a little bit excited that I'm hoping it's Benedict. And because of the conversations that he's had about like, I guess like, purpose and love and like commitment, that it's the beginning of his arc that we'll hopefully see comes all the way around in the next season. So I'm hoping it's Benedict. Hoping it's him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping it's Benedict too. Like he's my first pick for season 4. I think there's really nothing else to do with him. Like they have to get like he's at a point where he seems like he's ready. He's ready
Yeah.
to be convinced that he's ready at least.
He's
So
yeah.
I do think, and then because I also do like partially want like a year in between for like Francesca to be married and
Um,
everything.
yeah.
Like just like I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like neurotic about it, but I just feel like I want her to be married for a beat.
I
Like,
think that makes sense because it makes sense with what happens in the book, right? Like she ends up being married and she's with John for quite some time, right?
yeah, I forgot if it was like a couple years or so, but it was way more than just like
A season.
whatever it would be from season 3 to season 4.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yes, hoping for that. And like we said, we probably won't see Canton anymore because they'll be in India. Any thoughts on the Queen? Do you have any thoughts there?
I mean, the queen, I mean, she was sort of like how she usually is. I don't know. Like I do think they kind of use her a lot just to like help say this is okay. Like at the like I was saying earlier, like
She's
this
a
is
plot
okay now.
device.
Like I don't know. I mean, she was so mad about Whistledown, and then she's just like, oh, now that Penelope like gave this impassioned speech, she's just like, well, you know what?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about it. Did you think it happened just a little bit too neatly? Because I think it
Oh
did.
yeah, it
Yeah.
did happen way too neatly. I
Yeah.
mean, I just think that's I don't know. Maybe there'll be repercussions in the following seasons that we'll see more of. Like it's not as neat as it seems right now, but
I hope not. And I think they know that because I remember Penelope saying yeah, it's okay with the queen, but you know, Whistledown has pissed off a lot of people, so it doesn't mean that like I'm completely in the clear. Like somebody maybe in the future will be mad about something and maybe some like revenge. I don't know. But I thought the queen, who was like obsessed with finding out who it is and was so pissed at her, was like, you're humble about it. Okay, you can do this. Really?
Yeah, I know. Like she had like a hunt for this woman for like 3 seasons, and now she's just like, okay, cool, thanks. Now I know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I like to. Well, now I'm thinking about it. I wonder if she's gonna do like a lot of private audiences with Penelope to kind of like dish and like get because in
Mm.
a way, I think she sort of like mentally corresponded with Lady Whistledown. Like she kind of had that relationship with her in the column. So maybe like the queen will want Penelope around, sort of like how she has Lady Danbury around. But I don't
Possibly.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think we've talked about everyone. I can't think of anybody else that's like important.
Yeah, we kind of, yeah, I think we hit like all the major characters. I mean, there's just Gregory and Hyacinth who are just,
They're
you
just
know,
there being the
they're
younger
kids.
siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see them in the future.
Oh, we did not see Daphne at all, which kind of sucked, especially at Colin's wedding. Like you would think she'd
Yes.
show up.
I knew Phoebe was not going to be in this because of like previous interviews. But it is weird that like they're not mentioned at all either. Like, oh yeah, Daphne and Duke are over there doing whatever the fuck. It's like,
Yeah, I know. I wish she just like gave us one line that just
yeah,
explained where they were. Like, oh, they can't come because she just had a baby or something like that.
yeah.
Like, but
I do agree. Oh, let's quickly talk about like the very, very end because we see them all have kids. And I remember
yeah,
in our live chat, we talked about how I forgot who said it, but we were saying that like hopefully the sisters have girls and then Penelope has the boy. And it's what happened.
yeah.
And he's named Lord Featherington and not Bridgerton. How come?
Because the first boy inherits the title. So because Penelope's dad was Lord Featherington.
But then what happens with the Bridgerton title?
Well, because Colin's the third son, so he doesn't have a title. He's just Mr. Bridgerton. Same
Okay.
thing with Benedict. He doesn't have a title. Only Anthony has a title. He's a Viscount.
Right.
And
Okay.
then Phoebe, not Phoebe, Daphne married a Duke. So, yeah, there's that. So, yeah,
Hmm.
he'll be Lord. Well, I mean, technically not really Lord Featherington because they forged those documents, but no one knows that. So, yeah. But I'm surprised he didn't reveal the name. Like, I was like, we got like, I think one of the girls is Philomena, and I was just like, can we get the boy's name?
Philomena.
So, yeah.
Um, yeah, that was very cute. It happened the way that we wanted it to. Well, that was a happy chat. I'm gonna hang backstage. I can say bye to Gabby. And I will see you guys here in the future. I have a whole Bridgerton playlist right here on this channel, but I'm also a girl who's a fan of different types of things. So I will be watching and covering House of the Dragon season 2, which starts on Sunday. So if you want to stick around for that, hit subscribe, hit the like button. It really helps me out. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.